Good Tuesday morning of the 33rd week in Ordinary Time. I want to read the Gospel today. This is a wonderful story. Luke is a great writer. I said that to you before. He's probably the best of the four Gospel writers in terms of his skills in telling a good story. And he does a phenomenal job of it, you see. And his stories are famous because they're well told. They're well expressed. At the time Jesus came to Jericho, intended to pass through the town. Again, I tell you, for the 800th time, whenever you see pass through or pass, that word pass is a reference to the Passion of Christ. Good Friday, see, or Passover, you see. Get it? That's a key word. You know, a divine event is about to occur. Now, a man there named Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and also a wealthy man, was seeking to see who Jesus was. But he could not see him because of the crowd, for he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree in order to see Jesus. Was about to pass that way. See? It's a moment of redemption. When he reached the place, Jesus looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house." He invites himself to the intimacy of Zacchaeus' home. And he came down quickly and received him with joy. When they saw this, they began to grumble, saying, "He's gone to stay at the house of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood there and he said to the Lord, "Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor. And if I've extorted anything from anyone, I'll repay them 4 times over." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a descendant of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save what was lost." It's a great story. I love the story of Zacchaeus because he is seeking to believe. He's seeking to see. Yesterday talked about seeing. Zacchaeus is short, and by his conditions in life, by his choices, he has become a betrayer of his own people. He's working for the Romans. Tax collectors work for the Romans. They're the bad of the worst. They're the worst of the bad, or whatever you want to call them. This guy is a public sinner, a betrayer of his own people. You don't get worse than him. Zacchaeus is the bottom of the barrel, okay? Works for the enemy. In the ancient world, that was an unforgivable sin. It's in our world, too, in many ways. To betray your family. In my home, to betray your family, unthinkable. Unthinkable. Unforgivable. You know, that's what you got here. And yet, see, Zacchaeus wants to see Christ. He wants to be redeemed. So he does whatever he can. As limited as he is, short in stature, he climbs a tree. He gets up above it. And he sees Christ pass by. And Christ looks up at him, a man who is a terrible sinner, a public sinner, standing up in a tree, trying to get a look at him, just getting a peek. And Christ says, "Come on down, Zacchaeus. I want to stay at your house. I want to have supper with you." That is a invitation, a self-initiated invitation to the intimacy of the dinner table. Again, in the ancient world and in my world, to be invited to dinner at someone's home is an invitation to intimacy, the intimacy of friendship, in which no harm is allowable. No fighting, no arguing. At the dinner table, we eat in peace, the great symbol of the Eucharist. It was also true of my home. You never got in an argument at the dinner table. It was a great way never to be invited back. You see? We eat in peace, and in eating in peace, we foster the peace. We foster the intimacy of the relationship of those at the table. That's exactly what Zacchaeus is doing here. He is called, see? Jesus actually invites himself to the intimacy of Zacchaeus' home. See? Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house. See? And then, of course, the official leadership there knew this guy here is a betrayer. What are you doing? You see? But then Zacchaeus confesses, "Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I'll give to the poor. If I extorted anyone, I'll pay him back 4 times." And Jesus says to him, today salvation has come to his house. This man too is a descendant of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to save what was lost, to seek and save what is lost. See, Zacchaeus climbed a tree, the sycamore. He climbs it to see Christ. And in so trying to see Christ, Christ sees him and takes him in. And Zacchaeus is now arguably one of the most famous saints, as it were, in the New Testament, because he is redeemed in the crowd. Christ redeems him because he sought Christ. And that's the truth too. And I think those of us who are believers, those of us who are Christians, or whatever religion you are, we have to seek to see the Christ, and Christ as he comes by us in our own personal Passovers, which means moments of grace, when there's a moment in which we can love better, we can be more generous, more caring, more courageous. When the events of life display before us the passing of Christ, he's passing by us, not passing away, passing by us. And it's the moment of grace, the moment of redemption. Perhaps and most especially the moment of forgiving, or the moment of forgiveness, asking for forgiveness. I love this story. Christ responds to Zacchaeus, but Zacchaeus climbs the tree. What if he didn't climb the tree? Then we wouldn't have the story. So it's a combination of Zacchaeus seeking redemption, seeking to be forgiven, seeking to be made whole, and Christ inviting him to a wholeness by inviting himself, Christ himself, to his dinner table. Let me come and eat with you. Come, let me join you. Think of the Eucharist, Christ saying to us, come to my table. Let me come to your table. Let me come to your altar and be the food of life for you. Christ invites us. Christ invites himself, as it were. I'm not saying it well. Christ invites himself to our table, our homes, so that he can bring life to us. Let me come and eat with you. See? Because when I come and eat with you, I will make your fare even richer. You see? I'm not coming empty-handed. I'm coming to bring you even greater, as it were, intimacy of the table. I guess I said that okay. Yeah. I think so. Think of the Eucharist in those terms. It's Christ asking to come into us, asking, let me into the table, to join you in your table of life, so that I may enrich the food of life itself at your table, in your home, with your love.